I spent 2 years full-time doing business development for Tony Robbins, helping him change millions of lives and helped him build a $1 billion business. I enrolled people into his courses, presented on stage before and after his paid programs. I even had a couple of conversations with Tony himself. I learned 15 lessons to help you build a wildly successful coaching business. These lessons have personally helped me to start and grow our business from $0 to $55 million in revenue, win 2 business awards, including being Australia's 38th fastest growing company, and train over 3,300 coaches from 21 countries to help you make a living and a difference doing what you love. So in the next 30 minutes, I'm gonna share exactly what these 15 lessons are so you can fast track your success and start making a big difference as well. The last 3 is what is going to surprise most people. Here we go. Lesson number 1. Stop educating and start edutaining. It's not always about the quality of the education. It's also about the entertainment, the experience that you give people. Why does Tony Robbins do things like do live interventions on stage? It is for what I would call the razzle dazzle. You know, if you've ever seen the musical Chicago, give them the old razzle dazzle, it's that. Why does he do a firewalk for? Because it is so captivating to the human mind to walk across hot coals. It's so visual when you explain it to other people. And when there's footage of it, it just looks amazing. It's exciting. It's an experience. It's entertainment in that way. What if you have happy, clappy music and literally dancers on stage and it's like a rock concert? It's to engage all of your senses and experience. Otherwise, just read the book. Did you know that when you read the book, Awaken the Giant Within and Unlimited Power, that's actually 90% of the content that is already in the Unleash the Power Within program. Spoiler alert, but why do people go to the event? They're not getting it just for the education, just for the left brain logical content. It's about the experience as well. So ask yourself the question, how can I engage more of my clients' senses? How can I visually demonstrate something as opposed to always telling something, showing something instead? It's just a lot more likely to be more captivating for people. Lesson number 2, certainty sells and self-doubt smells. So here's what it means. Sales is the transference of an emotion. The most important emotion is certainty. That is what Tony Robbins has in spades. It is the rock solid certainty and belief. Another word for certainty, you may have heard me speak about this in marketing. I say in marketing, trust is a must. Certainty is trust. I don't have time to do all the research and all these other things. People make snap moment decisions and they make a decision on whether or not to click your thing, your ad, register for your program, pay you more money based on your certainty. Because that speaks volumes that this person is certain that the content is going to work for me, certain the coaching technique is going to work, and I trust them based on the look on their face, how they speak. It's not just sales from the point of view of buying a program. It could be selling an idea, selling your client to do the action item you gave them. Tony always used to say this, the person with the most certainty always wins. When 2 people meet each other, the person who is most certain influences the other person and a sale takes place. That shows up in all forms of communication. I'll give you an example. When I first started working with Tony Robbins and I was selling his programs, I had never done them before. I have never paid to do them before. I just started working. If anything, I only paid for his books and CD sets. And I wasn't certain. And people would often ask me, hey, Cham, how long have you been working there for? Have you done the program? That's because they could smell, figuratively speaking, they could smell my doubt. And that doubt leached into the conversation and it caused them to ask me that question. But here is the thing. After a few months of working there, having done the programs and personally paid for them out of my own pocket and saw how good they were, I never, ever, ever got that question again. So for the first few months, I got the question. For the other, whatever it is, 1 year and 9 months, never got that question ever again. The same, a lot of coaches, you have self-doubt, and that's when you feel that your certification needs to prop up your own confidence. But there are a lot of other ways you can become confident without, getting more and more certification as well. So do the internal work on yourself using your own coaching techniques, etc., to build up your own certainty and confidence. Lesson number 3, don't create new offers, find new audiences. Decades and decades and decades, Tony Robbins has had the same exact program, which has virtually gone unchanged. He's run it multiple times in Australia, even though it's last time ever for many, many times. But he's run it in multiple countries as well. And for the longest time, he only had 3 programs, but he perfected them and he ran them in many, many cities, many, many times over. The manual for Unleash the Power Within has virtually been unchanged for 35 years. This is what I would call evergreen content. Paid programs, or you could say Unleash the Power Within is marketing for his bigger program, but content that doesn't change season to season. It's not constantly refining and improving things. It's getting a very good program and then finding new people. Just think about it. Does Phantom of the Opera change? Is it 100% perfect? No, but it's amazing and it's set and it takes so much time to create that you spend, once you've created, you spend all your other time finding new people. It's so much easier to find new people to show that same presentation of Phantom of the Opera or Unleash the Power Within or your free event to, as opposed to creating an entirely new program and testing it. But most coaches, what do? We love creating. We love this novelty and this new thing, but at what cost? Don't create new offers and new programs. Find new people instead. Lesson number 4, metaphors make you money. The 3 programs Tony Robbins sold, he put it into a package of programs and he brilliantly called this package Mastery University. Just that one stroke of brilliance allowed him to draw metaphors to, hey, you've been taught this in university, but you haven't been taught how to live. So this is like the education you never had. What does a university or a college degree normally cost? $20,000, $30,000. Takes years and years and years. Contrast that with Mastery University and it's $10,000 and it takes a matter of months to do. Brilliant. The contrast and the frame there of using a metaphor, something that someone already understands. There's already a wiring and a frame set around university in people's mind, just leveraging that with Mastery University. We did exactly the same thing at Authentic Education. We have a thing called the PhD, the Path for Heart-Centered Difference Makers. Where did I get that idea from? From Tony Robbins. Not copying exactly, but as Tony would be very proud of me, modeling. You taught me that, Tony, and that's what I've done, modeling. So just think to yourself, what metaphor or analogy could you compare the cost of your program or what your program is like? There's a big difference between saying, my program is the best, it's so awesome, it's a premium quality, but it's worth it. Or you could just say, this is the Rolls Royce of training programs. If you want to go buy a Toyota, you can, but this is the Rolls Royce. And that metaphor of Rolls Royce, that comparison is already in people's minds. It's just so much quicker and so much easier. The fastest way to teach someone something is to compare it to something that they already know. When it comes to finding metaphors and analogies, if you're stuck, just ask ChatGPT because it's brilliant with that. Lesson number 5, burn the boats and you'll succeed. People are capable of amazing things. You as a coach, a human being, a difference maker, a business owner, you're capable of amazing things, but you can't do that if you always have a plan B. If you're chasing bright, shiny objects, if you've got an escape route, a plan B. Tony often said, if you want to take the island, you need to burn the boats. This phrase of burning the boats, burning the ships, it comes from a historical event. So back in 1519, there was a general called Hernan Cortez. He landed in Mexico with his men and he ordered the destruction and the burning of the boats. There was no retreat. There was no surrender. You succeed or die. Which one do you want to do? And when you want success so much as life, you will find a way. They ended up winning that war spectacularly. So where can you commit to something? A lot of people these days, commitment, they treat it like a 4-letter word. But when you commit to something and there is no plan B, you're a lot more likely to succeed. Commitment creates success for a lot of people. That's what I did. A long time ago, when I started working for Tony Robbins, about 20 years ago, I dropped out of university. I was out of university so long, all of my subjects, they couldn't count for anything anymore. So I had made and drawn a line in the sand. Now, of course, my Asian mum was not happy about me dropping out of university to start working for a personal development guru, but I had burned the bridge. It starts with a committed decision and hopefully one that you can't really back out of. So same, when I asked to do, and for a lot of people, they're terrified of public speaking, or they're always preparing to do an event or something like that. Draw a line in the sand. You get out your calendar, you select a date, and you tell everyone, on this date, I'm holding this event, but now you're committed to it. What would you do if success was guaranteed? What decision would you make? I'm saying try and make that decision right now. Lesson number 6. The same reason people come is the same reason people buy. The same reason people register for your free session is the same reason that they'll pay attention, show up, and purchase your entire coaching program. The same reason people respond to your marketing is the same reason they will register for your free event, attend your free event, engage for your free event, and buy at the end of that free event. It has to be the same thing the whole way through. A lot of coaches, a lot of difference makers I see, they do a bait and switch. They attract people for stress, and all of a sudden the coaching program is the 5 keys to empowerment. Those two things are different. If you attracted people for stress, talk about stress and sell them something that has the word stress in it. Otherwise, it's a bait and switch. If you're not sure why someone inquired with you, ask them. Out of curiosity, what was the reason that you inquired today? You know why? That is the exact same reason that will buy your entire coaching program. In marketing, we never create needs, we harness them. I don't tell you what you need. You come to me with a need, and I harness that need. If that need is productivity, abundance, doing what you love, empty nest, whatever that need is, we harness it and we solve that problem with the course that you've got. Lesson number 7, trust can be transferred. A lot of marketing, a lot of sales and influence, it's about trust. So there was a third-party program in the Mastery University. It was called Wealth Mastery. I bought it for $4,000. And when I got there, I realized Tony Robbins was not there. They even had a name for it. They called it a TNT event. Tony's not there. All right, great that you call it TNT like dynamite, but what it really stands for, Tony isn't here. Who's there? Other speakers. But he did a video and he transferred the trust to those people. The trust was transferred from his personal brand. In hindsight, I wasn't happy on day one, but it was actually one of my favorite events despite him not being there. The energy, his energy was there though. Example of how you can use this in your own business. A lot of people, they want to talk to the CEO, they want to talk to the principal of a school. They're gatekeepered left, right, and center. They're hard to get to. So speak to the person below them, the manager, the employee, the teacher, and build trust with them and have that trust that they've got in you now transferred over to the principal, transferred over to the CEO or whoever the decision maker is. Another example, in my Digital Marketing Made Easy program, I talk about partnership marketing as one of the 7 marketing methods. This is where you create a relationship with an organization leader or a business owner, like the person who owns a mother's group or a networking group. You give them your service, but now that trust they have in you, they can transfer that over to their group. And now it's like you've got massive trust. One last example. I did a video, and at the end of the video, which was me speaking, I said, if you really like this video, come to the event from my business partner, who you've never met before, and I transferred the trust over. At first, I thought it may not work, but it works sometimes even better because third-party trust is more respected and trustworthy sometimes than me saying I'm great. It's better that, I say Benjamin J. Harvey is great, who's my business partner, as opposed to Ben himself says that he's great. Lesson number 8, massive action equals massive results. Tony used to say all the time, massive action, you got to take massive action. For example, most people, when it comes to public speaking or presenting, they do 10 minutes a week. And that's a lot for them. Tony would book himself in for 20 hours a week, 20 hours. So he would get more experience in 1 week than most people do in 2 years. That's 100 times faster results. It is a very underestimated form of success. That's just called massive action, doing more. I really love the quote, quantity has a quality all of its own. There is something about just taking massive action and doing more. Ask yourself, what is a very high value skill or very high value task you can just do more of. You can just do more and more of by taking massive action. For some people, that's learning how to present on camera. Maybe it's creating content, but just do 50 pieces of content instead of what everyone else does, 5, as long as it's the best use of your time and it's working, of course. Lesson number 9, personal brand equals getting paid for life. Here's the question I've got for you. Tony Robbins is the #1 person in the personal development industry in 2025 right now. And it's been that way, I would say, for over 30 years. If you ask anyone on the street, who's the most famous personal development guru? It's just Tony Robbins for the last 30. But why? Why hasn't anyone copied him yet? You can't copy a personal brand. If all he was doing was writing blog posts, people would have copied him a long time ago. But you can't copy a relationship. You can't copy someone's essence. So a lot of people, especially coaches, we're trying to hide from the camera because we want to hide from criticism. But here is the thing. Warren Buffett, the world's wealthiest investor, will tell you, you must have a sustainable competitive advantage. You must have a unique selling point. Otherwise, you'll be like those artists that spent 10 years drawing their art. They suddenly stumbled across an amazing piece of art and then Zara copies it and puts it on their shirt and they've got no sustainable competitive advantage. So what is something that is sustainable for you? What is the unique thing in the world? There is only one person that looks like you, that speaks like you, that has your voice, your values, your vision, your message. You should show that to people as soon as possible. People buy you. They can copy content, but they cannot copy the connection to you. This puts your personal brand in what we call a category of 1. If you're like me, there's only one of me. You can't get it anywhere else. That is a very good thing to have. Your USP, your unique selling point, is you. The you in USP is you. So show yourself so you can have that. Lesson number 10, model other people's success. You know, modeling, that word is just fancy for the word copy. Just copy others, but don't do it blatantly outright. You've probably heard that saying, you know, good artists copy, great artists steal, that kind of thing. So Tony Robbins himself, he didn't come up with the business model of let's speak for free and then other people buy other paid programs and inspire people in a room. He modeled it by working for the late, great Jim Rohn. He worked for him doing business development. That's one of the areas where I got the idea of working for Tony Robbins in the first place, modeling him. When it comes to modeling and success, the absolute hands down fastest way to success is to model others. That's what Tony Robbins taught me as well. You always want to start with, who can I copy? Who can I model? When it comes to modeling, I've created 3 steps, and it's an acronym that spells SPAR. The first is success. That person you're modeling, they have to be successful in what you're doing. Not successful in another business, not Fakespert successful, not Instagram successful, actually successful for years and years and years and years and years. The P stands for process. They have to have an exact process you can copy. Otherwise, you know, here's a bucket of KFC chicken. You can't model that because there's no process. I can't reverse engineer those 11 herbs and spices. I have to understand a process. And then the A stands for access. I have to be able to ask that person questions. There's no point modeling someone because even if they've got an exact recipe and process, because the world's best recipe, you're going to get stuck. And when you get stuck, if you cannot ask that person questions, you're back to the drawing board. So you want to always model people. It is a lot easier to use your actual 2 eyeballs as opposed to your 3rd eye. What does that mean? When you're modeling someone, you see exactly what their business looks like, what they do, how they market, what kind of clients they have, what messaging they're using, the profit that they're making. You can see it with your own eyes. And that gives you that confidence that it will work. If you just imagine something, you don't know if it's going to work. It's not as clear, it's not as compelling, and everything gets difficult. So even if this plan might work, your crystal clear vision isn't that strong, and therefore you just give up at the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th sign of trouble. I'll give you an example. If I had never worked for Tony Robbins before, if I had never worked, there was another company called Universal Events that promoted people all over Australia and the world. If I had never worked for those companies before, in the 2nd year of Authentic Education, I would have guaranteed to quit because I was trying to copy what I had been trained to do for years and years, and I still couldn't do it myself. So if I was just making up this idea as I went along, I would have thought, this crazy idea I had, it's not going to work. But because I knew it 100% worked, because I had seen it with my own eyes, I just felt it was me. I just haven't made it work yet. And that kept persisting and persisting. Lesson number 11, proximity leads to profit. You may have heard proximity is power. Being around positive people, it makes you more positive. Being around successful people, though, it makes you more successful just by osmosis without doing much. The problem becomes the reverse is also true. You may have heard this quote. I really love it. It says, it's hard to fly like an eagle when you're surrounded by turkeys. That's very true. Before I worked for Tony Robbins, I had a lot of self-doubt. I was negative and not as positive about things. I was negative about business. 98% of businesses fail in the first 2 weeks or whatever the stat is. But being there, surrounded by successful people, surrounded by Tony, etc., it changed all of that. You may have heard your wealth is the average of the 5 closest people you hang around. So how can you hang around more positive, successful people? It's not just your actual friends and family. I'm not saying you have to come up with new friends and family members. It could be reading books, courses, watching a video like this. Even some of my marketing students say, Cham, your certainty overcomes my self-doubt. Your certainty in being able to attract clients, in me being able to create a business doing what I love from scratch with no experience, it overcomes the self-doubt I have, or my mum's self-doubt in me, or my friend, or the snide remarks someone might be making. Lesson number 12, work to learn, then to earn. When you're first starting off, if you've got a job, part of the reason I got a job at Tony Robbins, it wasn't for the amazing amount of money, it was the amazing amount of knowledge, growth, experience that I got. When you start your coaching business, it's a similar thing. I understand you're working for yourself, but you want to work to learn first. That's why I recommend that people do a free or pro bono coaching session at the start. There are loads more ways to get paid besides money. You get paid in confidence, experience, testimonials, feedback, reviews, not just the financial gain. So work to learn first, then to earn. Free coaching sessions build your competence and they build your confidence as well. I would also say you want to pay where possible to learn from other people's mistakes. Yes, you can learn from the school of hard knocks like I did, spending years and years in marketing, trial and error, hundreds of thousands of dollars testing stuff. That is one way to do it. And the lessons will stick with you a lot quicker, a lot deeper, but it is not as fast. So if you can pay for someone who's already got the experience in your industry, it's going to be a lot quicker. Lesson number 13, nobody has it all together, not even Tony Robbins. It might surprise you. So in the room where it happens, in the meetings, in the decisions, in the emails that are going back and forth, what surprised me is they're kind of winging it as well. Because when you're trying to grow into a new area and you're at the forefront of change, that there is no tried and true playbook. I bet you Steve Jobs operating in his garage, he was winging a lot of it. Apple was winging it so much that now it's a massive bird, to use that analogy. But they were winging it the whole way along because that's what happens when you're doing something totally brand new. There were no exact systems in place with exact metrics and a bulletproof plan, and all of their goals didn't always get hit in the timeline they wanted. So just cut yourself some slack sometimes. Have that ready, fire, aim attitude. Instead of analysis, paralysis, overthinking things, most people, they spend way too much time thinking and not enough time taking massive action. That massive action that you should be taking, that balances out all this analysis paralysis. In all of the last 16 years of giving coaches advice, I don't think I've ever said to a coach, hey, you're taking too much action. Slow down. You're doing too many events. You're having too many free sessions. You're practicing too much. You're getting too good on camera. Your skills are way too up there. Slow down. Never happened. But I have said many, many times, you're overthinking it. Analysis paralysis. You got to launch it. You need to get traction and not just spin your wheels. Lesson number 14. It's not about what you say. It's about how you say it. Tony's content is not the most unique in the world. You may have heard some people say, after a while, personal development, it's all fairly similar. Yes and no. Part of it is, part of it isn't. But it's not like Tony's content is going to win a Pulitzer Prize for most original, groundbreaking, scientifically backed content. It is how he says it. Work a little bit less on the left brain logical content and work more on the emotional, the how you say it. You don't have to be like Tony Robbins. All you have to be is the authentic version of you. We're trying to put you in a category of one. Let that authenticity come out. Your authenticity is your superpower. So focus more on the communication. Focus on the confidence on camera. Why? Because people buy you. You are what they are buying. You are the coaching program. You are the product. Last lesson, you are not in the coaching business. You're in the presentation business. Many coaches think that their success, it's all about coaching. That if I just practice and practice on my techniques and my coaching, that, if you build it, they will come kind of thing. Yes, the coaching is important. The product is important, but that's only half the battle. And you've probably practiced that to the nth degree. The secret from Tony Robbins is he didn't make his billions from coaching. He made his billions from presenting. The one single best skill Tony Robbins is great at is creating a presentation that is amazing and delivering it amazingly well. You could not even give him a script, not even give him a presentation, and he could probably sell ice to Eskimos in that way. So the thing that makes him have a unique, sustainable, competitive advantage for the last 35 years straight and counting is his ability to present on stage, to present on camera. Yes, his coaching is amazing, but the presentation skills is what fills the rooms, what builds the business. That's why if you have another presenter there, as great as that other presenter is, even if that presenter is delivering the exact same content as Tony Robbins, he will not fill stadiums or she will not fill stadiums as long as the presentation skills is not up to scratch. So you are not in the coaching business, you're in the presentation business. And if you master the art of presenting and make your presentation skills so great that people really feel, I need this, you can change more people's lives and get paid more in return than you've ever dreamed possible. So how do you create a presentation that actually attracts clients? How do you present it confidently? Because it's not just what you say, as we've learned, it's how you say it. And how do you market it by attracting your ideal clients? Because if people aren't watching that presentation, you don't have a business. Well, I'm glad you asked, because I put together a special video in the description below that shows you the exact steps you need to take to attract coaching clients consistently. This is based not just on working 2 years full-time with Tony Robbins, but also another 2 years full-time with an events promotion company called Universal Events, where I traveled around the world, and 16 years in my own business, Authentic Education. So if you want more clarity, confidence, and clients in your business, just click the link below now. We're gonna open it up to a little bit of Q&A now. Charla, go for it.
In terms of, you were talking about don't keep creating programs, find new audiences, but then you guys have a lot of programs. So I just want to kind of understand what you could think is here's the amount to stop at.
First off, don't try and reinvent all the programs all the time because you're constantly reinventing things. And then the second thing is there will come a time where the opportunity cost of creating a new program is kind of lower than the opportunity cost of finding new people. So if you just started your business and you've only got 5 people who've gone through your first program, if you create a second program, that's only going to be relevant for those 5 people. But after a while, you start having hundreds of people who have done your first program, and you know that it's a lot easier to have 30 new people join a paid program by just creating the second program, and 30 of these 100 people, because they like the first one, they'll probably just join the second one. Having said that, it is a new program for the same person. It's not a new program for someone totally different. So as soon as that first person joined that program, they have a new set of problems after they finish. Create the program that satisfies that problem. Ian Salter, go for it.
Thanks for delivering those 15 points. As the presenter, what's the most important point there for you, Cham?
I think the most important one is not what you say, it's how you say it. A lot of people spend time in logical land, which was me as well, on the content, getting it right, perfecting it, remembering what to say. If they're preparing for a Zoom event or a strategy session, a lot of the practice is all centered around remembering what to say. But the words is only 7% of the communication. So practicing the 93%. When they're practicing a Zoom event, how much time do they spend the way they look at the camera? Am I looking at the camera with certainty or not? How much do they practice their tone of voice? How much am I practicing being sure of what I'm saying, connecting with a person like it's a real human being? Not too much time, but that's where you need to spend your time, because that's 93% of the scoreboard, so to speak. All right, I'm going to take everyone off mute to say goodbye. And until we meet again, just remember, take massive action. See you later, all.
Thank you, Cham.
Bye.
Thanks,